What's up, schmucks? Welcome to Turkey Talk, the show where we talk about movies and pop culture and TV shows, but mostly movies. Mostly just movies. Anywho, what's going on, everybody? I hope at least more than one person watches this, because we have a lot to talk about. We got a big week of things to go over. CinemaCon was last week. I'm not going to cover everything that happened at CinemaCon because not all of it is of interest to me. I don't know if I ever clarified that with the news stories. Like, I don't cover like every single movie news thing that happened in a week. I just cover things that I have something to say about. Because, like, for example, there was like news this past week about the casting for the new Lord of the Rings movie, the Hunt for Gollum. I don't care about that. I have no real interest in the Lord of the Rings or anything like that, so I'm not going to talk about it because I don't care. You know, what a waste that would be. So we're going to talk about the things I do want to talk about. So for news this week, we've got casting for the next Superman movie. There's maybe possibly a long legs thing happening. I mean, not maybe, it is happening, but we'll talk about it. Then we have trailers for the Street Fighter movie, the Mandalorian versus Grogu, and the next Ridley Scott movie, The Dog Stars. We've got some news about the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the sequel to Mutant Mayhem. And we have some news about World War Z. A little bit of World War Z news. And then we're going to talk about some CinemaCon stuff. Really just three things from CinemaCon. We're going to go over Avengers Doom Guy. We had a handful of things. They played a trailer there. The trailer's not been released at the time of recording, so we're just going to talk about the description of it, and I have some thoughts. Godzilla Minus Zero, which, as you can see, Godzilla shirt. Love Godzilla. Not just Minus One. Like, I love Godzilla. I made a video about Godzilla where I really flex my knowledge. I love Godzilla. Yeah, we're going to talk about Godzilla Minus Zero, and there is a little trailer for that, so we can go over that too. And then, the main news thing I do want to talk about is Clayface. I've made 3 or 4 videos about this Clayface movie. I was going to make one for this. I might just rip this, what I talk about here, edit it a little tiny bit, and then turn that into the video. So we'll see what happens. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about with Clayface, because they play a trailer there. There's some descriptors out there. I have things to say as a guy who's read a bunch of Clayface comics. Very excited. And then the big movie, The Mummy. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. At the time of recording, right here, right now, I have not seen it yet. I'm going tomorrow with my friend. I'm going to try to convince him to review it with me in the car. I'm going to ask him really, really nicely. So if he says yes to that, there probably won't be footage. It'll just be the audio. So I'll rip the audio and I'll put it on screen. And then we'll come back to the show, which I'm doing now. We're going to do the Weekly Media Club. Homework was 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Watched it. I got things to say. And then I'm going to give new homework for next week. And then we had new Absolute Batman came out. I'm going to see if I can grab it off screen. I got this variant. Oh, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, that's what we're talking about in the Weekly Media Club. And then I guess I'll go over some other things that I watched. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. All right, here we go. Man of Tomorrow, the next Superman movie, sequel to Superman. Casting news. Adria Arjona, or Adria Arjona, if you're white. I mean, I'm Hispanic, but I don't speak any Spanish. I was raised by white people, so I mean, I think the correct pronunciation is Adria Arjona. It doesn't matter. I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. What am I fucking talking about? She's joining the cast. It's expected and assumed that she's going to be playing Maxima, but it is also suspected, theorized that she could be playing Wonder Woman. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I do not know that much about Maxima. Like, I have like an image of the character in my head. I couldn't tell you anything about her off the top of my head, which is probably bad reporting. I should have at least looked up like her wiki, but I didn't, and it's too late to do it now. But yeah, I mean, Adria Arjona is a great get. She's an incredibly talented actress. She is great in Andor. She's good in Hitman. Hitman's really good. Glenn Powell is my choice to be Batman, so that would be cool if the two of them went from that to DC. I'd like that. But her as Wonder Woman, I can't say that I'm like really jazzed about that if that were true. I don't think she'd be a bad choice for Wonder Woman, but she hasn't done any role where I've looked at that and gone, yeah, that's a Wonder Woman, right? That exudes Wonder Woman energy. Because I feel like an actor to be Wonder Woman, you need to be someone who has like a real like fierceness to you, but also has like this burning compassion and kindness in you. And not to say that she couldn't do that if given a proper script and direction, but I don't know. I haven't seen her do that in any of her roles yet. I don't really know if I have any fan cast for Wonder Woman. I'm really just hoping that the casting directors at DC just pick a good person for the role, someone who's better than Gal Gadot. I'm actually working on a Gal Gadot Wonder Woman retrospective video. And going back to all of the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman things, she's not good. Like, she's not good in that first one. She's barely good in BVS. That's probably the best performance she gave as that character. She's not good in that. So it's not going to be a high bar to clear. I am a fan of Melissa Barrera taking on Wonder Woman because I think she could absolutely nail like all the Diana things. She can do kindness, she can do strength, she can do that, you know, burning compassion, incredible wisdom, the tenacity, the fighter instinct, like she's got it all. She could absolutely do that role. I think May Kalamaui, who's from Moon Knight and The Mummy, and she was gonna be in Gladiator 2, but they cut her out. I think she'd be a good Wonder Woman. But yeah, I mean, Adria Arjona, she's not a bad actor by any means, very talented. But I just don't know if I see Wonder Woman in her. I know some people say Courtney Eaton. I think that wouldn't be bad. She's tall. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, like, I don't really know if I have a Wonder Woman choice. I think that's one we're gonna leave up to the DC casting directors. For Batman, I have a few choices, but that's not important. Moving on, Osgood Perkins is working on another Longlegs movie. Neon will not be producing this one because the budget was ballooning a little too much, so it's going to go to Paramount, which is interesting to me. I mean, it's Longlegs. Like, what do you mean the budget was getting too big? What the fuck are we doing here? Nicolas Cage is coming back, and sources are saying it's not a sequel, but it's set in the Longlegs universe. Whatever that means. I mean, prequel seems like the obvious choice, right? Prequel. I also think they could it doesn't necessarily have to be a prequel in the sense that we're going to see events leading up to what happened in Longlegs. It could also just be like another time that he was doing weird shit and a different cop was on his trail or something like that. Or, I don't know. I really don't know where you go with Longlegs. I don't even think it would be interesting to follow the cop, the Micah Monroe one, the Clarice Sterling type girl cop. I don't remember her name. What was her name? Harker Lee. I fucking remember. That's her goddamn name. I don't know why I remember that. Yeah. My camera fucked up there. I'm hoping that this is going to be okay. I have been recording for about 10 minutes. I don't feel like starting over, so I'm not going to. It seems like the audio is fine. So at minimum, you'll have audio and maybe not visual. I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see. Anywho, but yeah, I mean, I saw someone on Twitter who was saying like, oh, it's a bold choice to make another Longlegs and not follow the cop. I don't think that'd be interesting, like, at all. Because, like, what's the intrigue there? Ooh, you saw her. It is Lee Harker. Oh, it's Lee Harker, not Harker Lee. It's Lee Harker. Sorry. But, you know, like, I don't think that's interesting. Be like, oh, what if she solved a different case? I don't think that's very interesting or compelling. I know they made, like, a sequel series to The Silence of the Lambs a couple of years ago. I say a couple. That was probably, like, fucking 2018. I don't remember what it was called, but I know it was about Clarice Sterling, like, doing different things. I never watched it, but I heard it was really good. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm looking it up. Clarice Starling. Oh, it's Star. I thought it was Sterling. Clarice Starling show. What do we have here? Oh, it's just called Clarice. Was this good? One season, 2021. Holy shit, this is not as new as I thought. 42% Rotten Tomatoes, 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, 6.6 on Prime. 64% of Google users liked this show. Okay, so it's kind of mid is what I'm getting from here. Okay, so yeah, maybe I was right, and the Lee Harker sequel would not be very good. I like Micah Monroe. I think she's incredible in Longlegs. I think she's like one of the best parts of that movie. But yeah, I mean, I think if you feel the need to expand on the Longlegs lore, Longlegs-averse, following Longlegs is probably the best way to do that. But it's probably just going to be not necessarily like a prequel. We're going to see the setup for that movie. We're going to see him just do other weird, creepy shit before he did that weird, creepy shit. That would be my guess. But Nicolas Cage, he's good in that role. I know there was like some controversy at the time. He was, he was going too big. He was being too weird. It was like an oddly silly performance. People didn't feel that he was sinister enough. I thought he was. I thought he had like a real menace to him that I really liked. So him going back to that character, I can't lie. I mean, I'm interested in that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna see what Osgood Perkins cooks up. All right, big time trailer time. Well, that's pretty catchy. I like that. We have Street Fighter, Mandalorian versus Grogu, and the Dog Stars. So let's start with Street Fighter. Full disclosure, I don't know shit about Street Fighter. I barely know anything about Mortal Kombat. I'm not good at fighting games. And once I realized that I wasn't good at them and I couldn't really get good at them because this is not the way that I game. I'm barely good at Marvel Rivals. Then I decided to just kind of never really get into them. So like the only knowledge I have of Street Fighter really is aesthetically. Like I know the look of the characters. I know Chun-Li. I know M. Bison, kinda. I know Ryu. See, I don't know shit. But this looks really fun. This looks like a lot better than I thought it was going to. I didn't watch any of the other trailers because they were just, again, like not really something on my radar. I'd see the movie, I see everything, but I wasn't really following this. But I figured, I'd watch this trailer. It's good. It looks really good, and I like the look of it. It looks like a lot of fun. And it's doing what I think the Mortal Kombat movies should have done, which is lean into the video game-ness of them. The Mortal Kombat movies, they're trying to be like, oh, what if Mortal Kombat was real? Well, it's fucking not. And that's how the Street Fighter movie the Street Fighter movie seems to be operating. Because I know there's that other one, that older one with Raul Julia, which I have not seen. But I'll probably watch it before this new one comes out. But this looks good. It looks silly. It looks funny. It looks campy, but in like a fun kind of way. And again, like leaning into the absurdity and the video game-ness of it all, I think is a really smart decision. I think if they played this straight and tried to do this like really, grounded and earnest, it would have been stupid. So this feels like the proper path to go down. Everyone looks great. The problem I have with a lot of video game adaptations is a lot of the times the actors, they look like they're in cosplay. I felt that way with The Last of Us. It felt like it was, Pedro Pascal running around in a Joel cosplay and so on. This, for some reason, doesn't feel that way. Maybe because I think what it might be is like The Last of Us and Uncharted and God of War, they look realistic enough in the games. So to like see a person dressed like that, it just doesn't look right, Whereas with Street Fighter, even like Tomb Raider, because there was that image of Sophie Turner as Lara Croft that I really liked. I think it looks very promising. You're taking a character that's just a bunch of fucking polygons and making them real. So I just think it hits a little different, It's like this thing that was 2D before is now 3-dimensional and real. And I think it comes across really well in this trailer. But yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. A fucking stacked cast, too. Good God. But, everybody looks like they're having a good time, I'd say. Eric Andre is always looking like he's living it up. Andrew Schultz should not be in this. He's not really an actor. He's not really a good person either. But beyond that, I think this looks very promising, and I'm looking forward to it. The next trailer we're going to talk about is The Mandalorian versus Grogu. This doesn't look good. I don't think this looks like anything, really. Entire trailer, I didn't fucking feel a single thing. I didn't crack a smile. I didn't laugh at any of the jokes. I didn't point to the screen and go, "Oh my god, it's an X-wing," because I don't care. My love for Star Wars has been beaten out of me because they just wouldn't stop, dude. Like off the back of Rise of Skywalker, they never stopped making shit. You never had the chance to miss Star Wars. It's always there now. And this big return to theaters for Star Wars, I thought there'd be more fanfare about that. I thought there'd be something about that. Like, oh wow, this is the first Star Wars movie since 2019. That's a long time. That's 7 years. And what? It's just the Mandalorian season 4 turned into an hour and a half long movie or a 2 hour long movie. We're gonna condense all of that. Or we had so little story to really tell that the movie was the only option. Either way, not very promising. I also think I've seen the entire movie at this point across all the trailers because they've released like 4 of them at this point. Which, on one hand, I guess you could say that's like a Disney marketing thing, but they don't do that for every movie. Like I think, and this is me being cynical, I think that they're looking at the numbers and they're seeing that people are not really feeling this. That people are not looking forward to Mandalorian versus Grogu or whatever it's called. And I think that their push to release so many trailers and keep showing so much of the movie is them being like, we need to get people to see this, because they just don't seem to have like the faith in it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a Disney thing or a Star Wars thing, like a Lucasfilm, I guess, thing. But I don't know. I mean, cynically, I would assume that that's why they're over marketing the shit out of this, is because they don't have a lot of faith in it, or maybe they don't have faith. They don't have faith that people are going to see it, so they're trying to push it really hard. But then, like, I guess to not be so cynical, that might just be how they're going to market this. It's just the way that it rolled. But even like in terms of the discourse, like online, like I don't see anyone talking about this movie. I see people talking about Dune. I see people talking about the Odyssey. I see people talking about, like these other not independent, but not franchise movies coming out this year. And this is something I'll talk about with Avengers Endgame, or Doomsday rather. But I just don't think that the motion is there for these things anymore. I also think like The Mandalorian was on like a steep decline. Like season 1 was highly praised. Season 2, people still liked it. They didn't like it as much. Season 3, universally panned. Like barely anybody praised that season of television. And then, that was 2023, I want to say. So to come back 2 to 3 years later with a movie, I just don't think like the hype is there. I think the whole Baby Yoda Grogu craze has worn out. I mean, Pedro Pascal is still a big name, but how much of this is he really in? And they were saying before, like, he's in the suit for most of it, but that really is him. I don't believe that. I highly doubt that. But even if he is, he's in a suit, he's in a costume, he's not taking the helmet off every scene. So, it's like this Pedro Pascal movie. Yeah, you'll hear his voice, but it's also distorted. So he isn't really like a draw to this, the way that he was for like Gladiator or Fantastic Four or that Celine Song movie that I still haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like Pedro Pascal is a draw, but that's because he's usually the face of something. So to hide his face, it's just he's no longer being used as a draw. And Star Wars as a brand, I don't think it's where it was back in, especially like 2015. Like The Force Awakens, the first Star Wars thing in over a decade, or close to a decade. Yeah, it would have been close to a decade. Yeah, of course that was going to draw a crowd. It was Star Wars coming back. That was crazy. And then they kind of maintained that with like Rogue One, because that was a different thing. Like, oh, it's not a mainline saga movie. It's like a spin-off. That was new. And The Last Jedi was the sequel to the mainline saga. But because it was divisive, I liked The Last Jedi, full disclosure. But because it was divisive, that's when the crack started to crumble. And this crack started to show, I should say. And then Solo was not received very well. I like Solo. I think it's fun. But like beyond that, it's not special. It's not great. So that wasn't good for Star Wars. But they just didn't stop. So then and there was going to be, I forgot where it was. It was going to be a third spinoff. Because the plan was saga movie, spinoff, saga movie, spinoff, saga movie, spinoff. That was the plan, to like alternate that way. But then they ended the saga, for now I guess, with Rise of Skywalker, which again, like barely anybody liked because it was, don't have to get into it. And then by that point they had shifted to TV with The Mandalorian. And The Mandalorian gave way to the Ahsoka spinoff and blah blah blah. It's just like they never stop. They never let you miss Star Wars. So yeah, this is like the first Star Wars movie in 7 years, but it doesn't really feel like there's anything to celebrate there because Star Wars never went away. In the animated sector, we've had a handful of things. In live action, we've had a handful of things. Some of which very good, like Andor. Some of which not so good, like Ahsoka. It's. I just don't think this is going to be the big hit that Disney probably is expecting it to be. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this ends up making $1 billion for some fucking reason. But I just don't think this looks very good, and I just don't see like the appeal in Star Wars as like an IP anymore. I think it's just oversaturated. I don't care about it personally, but I've also outgrown Star Wars. I like the original movies for their merit as films, but like the story of it all and the lore and the characters, take it or leave it. Anywho, let's talk about the Dog Stars. This is the next Ridley Scott movie. It's his first movie since 2024, Gladiator 2. I think Napoleon also came out in 2024, did it not? I could be wrong about that. But I know Gladiator 2 is 2024, and I think that was his last movie. This stars Jacob Elordi, Margaret Qualley, Josh Brolin, and it's about an apocalypse. And hang on, because it looks like a guy trying to find meaning in the apocalypse. But let me Google this and see what it says. Set in Colorado after the world's population has been ravaged by a pandemic, a man lives a lonesome existence in an airplane hangar with his dog and a door gunman he has befriended. When a mysterious transmission comes through on the radio while he is flying his old Cessna, it sparks a hunt for the provenance of the sound. That seems fun, but this looks pretty good. I like the cast. Margaret Qualley's great. She seems to be pretty booked and busy. She was in How to Make a Killing earlier this year, which I thought was fine. Jacob Elordi, he's also fun. Like him a lot. Frankenstein, good. Euphoria, bad. Not watching that new season. Apparently it's fucking weird. Josh Brolin's incredible. He needs to be in basically everything. I'm amazed that guy doesn't have awards to his name that he should have. Where's his Oscar? He's incredible. What performance should he get an Oscar for? I don't know, actually. I was going to say No Country for Old Men, but the highlight of that movie is Javier Bardem. Anywho, this looks good, I think. I am curious about how the Ridley Scottness of this is going to come through, because Ridley Scott makes harrowing, devastating, upsetting movies. It's kind of his brand. Alien, deeply upsetting. Gladiator 1 and 2, both pretty upsetting. Napoleon's an upsetting movie. So, this being an apocalyptic thing seems very on brand for him. But it also looks like there's going to be a lot of hope in this movie. The idea of finding a purpose in life, finding friendship, found family, stuff like that. I am curious about what kind of apocalypse this is. The thing I just read seems like it just kills you, but I don't know. There's some weird crawling, running around things in this. So I don't know. Are those zombies? Are they infected? What are we doing here? Or are they just people looking for supplies and stuff? I don't know. But yeah, new Ridley Scott movie. How could you not be a little excited at minimum? I'm very excited. I'll watch anything that man makes. I think he's one of our best directors. I also love that he's just a fucking lunatic when it comes to this kind of stuff. He'll just never stop. Even if he'll make a movie that's not great, he doesn't care. He's already moved on to the next one. He's great. I love him. Isn't he pro AI though? He might be pro AI actually. Maybe we don't love Ridley Scott. Next up we have news about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem sequel. It's going to include Shredder and Krang, which I think is fun. I will say though, why are we doing them both at the same time? I don't know. It's not that that's necessarily a problem, but I feel like you could do just Shredder, but throwing Krang in there, and Shredder hasn't really been introduced yet. So we're going to do Shredder origin, Krang origin, and I guess they're going to team up off the bat to fight the Turtles. I'm not to say that's a problem or it's going to be bad or anything, but I would have enjoyed a Shredder as the sole villain movie. I would have enjoyed that. But also, some of the appeal of some of those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics and the shows, I haven't seen the movies. I haven't seen any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I've only ever seen the animated series, the varying ones, and read the comics, some of the comics. But, the villains will often team up. So, not to say it's a bad thing. But yeah, Krang and Shredder, they're coming. Woohoo. And then the next thing is a new World War Z movie is happening. Woohoo, World War Z. I like World War Z enough that I'm interested in a sequel, because there was going to be a sequel. From memory, they were going to do a second one, and then it kind of just didn't go anywhere. And so I wonder if they've revived that plan, or if this is an entirely new thing. So I'm just getting a lot of stuff about the sequel that's happening right now. But from memory, they were going to make a sequel. I always thought World War Z would really lend itself to an anthology series, or just something of that ilk because of the way the book is structured, where like every chapter is a different tale from the zombie war. That book is fun. I read it when I was in middle school, and I remember really enjoying it. But I think if I read it now, I might hate it. But I always thought that was the way they should have done that. So that might be what they end up doing. That this sequel is different. In the sense that it doesn't follow Brad Pitt anymore. They figured out that if you have some kind of disease, they won't fuck with you. And by the end of it, they've pretty much perfected how to kill them all, where they like load the zombies into stadiums and then airstrike them. So, I mean, I don't know. If you figured it out that much, why are we doing another one? I never thought it needed a sequel, honestly. But if you are gonna do one, I think that's what they should do. Like a new characters, new setting, new whatevers. I would like to see these apocalypse things go outside of America. Like this post-apocalyptic America thing, it's run its course. I've had enough of it. That's why I like the 28 Years, Days Later movies. They're different. They're a different setting than just, what if New York, but it was the apocalypse? I've seen it. I'm done with it. What does China look like at this time? What's happening in Australia? Let's go outside of America. America's at the center of the fucking world. We can go other places. But yeah, so if I had it my way, a World War Z sequel would feature new characters in a new setting doing a new thing. But I guess we'll find out. There's been no reporting on cast or director or writer. It's just that this is happening. It's in the works. It seems to be early days. Who is to say if this even happens? Actually, that might not entirely be true. World War Z sequel. Maybe there is news, and I missed it about who's writing this. So yeah, I was right. There is no news on cast or director or writer or anything like that. It's just that the sequel is happening. And there is speculation about whether or not this is like the original idea they were going to go for with the sequel that David Fincher was going to make, or if this is a new thing. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, World War Z sequel that could be good. That's exciting, is it not? Okay, so let's turn to CinemaCon. Like I said up top, we're only going to talk about 3 of the things that happened at CinemaCon, because there was a lot. But I just want to talk about Godzilla, Clayface, and Avengers. So we're going to start with Avengers, because it's the one that I have the most negative things to talk about. Then we're going to do Godzilla, because it's the one we have the most information about. And then we're going to talk about Clayface, because it's the one that I'm most interested in. Let's do Avengers. So I'm just going to run through the bullet points I've written here. I wrote these based on different things that I had read about what's apparently in the footage. So here we go. Dr. Doom apparently has an accent, and some people are saying that Robert Downey Jr. is unrecognizable in the role. You know, I'll talk about these as I go. So if he's doing a voice and he's not going to take the mask off and he's unrecognizable, why get Robert Downey Jr., right? Like the appeal, I guess, is that he was once Iron Man, now he's Dr. Doom. And I guess we can't entirely rule out the possibility that he's going to be like a different Tony Stark from a different dimension, which I would not like. But why even bother? Just get a stunt guy to go in the suit, and then you get someone to do the voice, right? If he's not going to take the mask off and RDJ is unrecognizable, why bother? I think it's silly. Anyway, everybody's meeting everybody, I wrote. Fantastic Four meets the new Avengers and Thor. If you can't tell, I don't really have faith in this movie. Can't say that I'm particularly interested in it. Shang-Chi fights Gambit for some reason, I wrote. I mean, why? Why? That doesn't even sound like it'd be an interesting fight. Make Shang-Chi fight like another Kung Fu guy, right? I mean, I don't know. Make him do a big punch on fucking Cyclops or something. Thor and Steve meet again. Why? Why? Steve had an ending. Why are we bringing back Steve Rogers? Why? He had an ending. His story was done. It was told. We have a new Captain America. Where the fuck is he? I have not heard a single thing about new Captain America. The guy who's supposed to be leading the Avengers. Where the fuck is he? Mystique turns into Florence Pugh. That's fun, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Like, why are we bringing back all the old X-Men? They've all died like 3 times each. You know, I remember in like the X-Men trailer, Professor X is like, death comes for us all. Yeah, I know. I've watched you die the most. I get such like a cynical energy from this movie. Like we've had a handful of Marvel projects at this point, between Endgame and now, where the theme of them is about, or at least a part of the movie is about letting go, about moving on. And yet, all of that's going to culminate in a movie where the studio cannot let go and cannot move on. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 had some moving on is good commentary. Black Panther 2 was all about grief and moving on with your life, as much as it hurts. I know there was a couple others. I'm trying to think of the shows. But, like, the idea about we need to just let's just move on. It's not, we can't dwell in the past forever. Let's move forward. Doctor Strange 2 had a little bit of that, with Strange refusing to, let somebody else take charge, lead. Spider-Man, not Brand New Day, the other one, No Way Home, was about stepping into a new phase of your life, doing a new thing with yourself. All of these, not all, but a lot of these movies were about going forward, not dwelling on the past, not letting the past hold you back. And that's what this movie is. Avengers Doom Guy is all about letting the past hold you back. And I think that is just so fundamentally stupid. Thor fights Doctor Doom, who stops Stormbreaker with one hand. And then I don't think this is true. I think I just wrote this to be fucking stupid. And then he says, "You're doomed." God, I hope that's not real. I hope that I wrote that. I had to have. There's no fucking way. Anyway, yeah, I mean, they're gonna do some stuff like this to kind of show how strong Doctor Doom is, how unbeatable he is. There's that comic panel where he grabs Thanos by the throat and turns into bones. I'm sure they're going to recreate that to some extent. But him stopping Stormbreaker, "Yo, dog, you're doomed." I don't think he says that. But yeah, I mean, that's to be expected. I imagine they were gonna throw one of the most powerful characters in the verse at him and have him just instantly kill them, like Emilia Clarke's character from Secret Invasion, because she becomes an all power having character by the end. So I figured they'd throw her at Doom and he'll kill her immediately. I was worried it would be Captain Marvel. I mean, we can't rule out that doesn't happen. In the same way that in the beginning of Infinity War, Hulk jumps at Thanos and Thanos bodies him immediately. Something like that to show you oh, this guy's a real threat. So yeah. I'm sure they're going to kill some of the characters that have been around for a long time, where the actors have decided that they don't want to do this anymore, or they've moved on. I mean, Sebastian Stan is going to become Two-Face in Batman, so how much longer is he going to do Marvel? Not to say that he can't do both, obviously. He could if he wanted to. It's not like they film these all at the same time. But he's been Bucky for fucking close to 20 years now, right? Yeah, it would be. No, actually, maybe not. No, not 20. Because Captain America was 2011, I think. So it's been a while, is the point. Yeah, it's been about 15 years. He's been Bucky for 15 years. That's a long time. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense to kill off characters like that. I'd be amazed if only a handful of people died in this. What I don't want to see is the new characters die. Don't kill off She-Hulk or Shang-Chi or anyone like that. Someone who hasn't gotten their time, But I mean, who's to say? Maybe Tatiana Maslany doesn't want to do this again. Maybe she was all right, I was She-Hulk one time. I'm good. I don't need to do this forever. Don't kill Miss Marvel. Iman Vellani is delightful. She loves that character. Don't kill off the new people, basically. But also, what was the point of fucking the last 6 or 7 years of the Marvel movies where we introduced all these new characters just for them to not be important here? Phase 3 of the MCU ended with Infinity War and Endgame. But it utilized all of the characters it had built up to that point. So not only was it the original Avengers team, it was the Guardians were important. Wakanda and Black Panther were important. Scarlet Witch was important. All of these characters that we'd met along the way played some form of important role. They meant something. Vision was important. It felt like it mattered. Ant-Man was important. It really felt like it mattered. Every character we'd met through the MCU meant something in Infinity War and Endgame. But this one, the way Doom Guy, Doomsday, whatever the fuck, is shaping out, it really feels like none of it means anything. It's all bullshit. It doesn't matter that we introduced Shang-Chi. It doesn't matter that we did something with Miss Marvel. The Eternals, who the fuck are the Eternals? Where are they? They got ripped into space. They're just gone now. We introduced oh my god, what's a goddamn name? Ironheart. Where's she? It just feels like a waste. It feels like they lost sight of doing the connected universe thing. Now, I am anti-cinematic universe. I think, on the whole, a cinematic universe is more harmful than good, especially the way that Disney and Marvel ran this one, or are running this one, because it's not over yet. But like, a great example is Captain America. We went through all the trouble of making a new Captain America. Sam Wilson is Captain America. I don't know if you can tell, I like him a lot. I have both of the hot toys they've made of him as Captain America. I like him a lot as Cap. I think he's great. Anthony Mackie's a delight. Why the fuck are we bringing back Steve Rogers and we're not utilizing the new Captain America that we spent a lot of time and energy putting in that position? And it doesn't help. It really doesn't help Sam Wilson's character that the MCU, whoever, the Russo brothers, Feige, whoever you want to blame, can't let go of Steve Rogers. The idea that he actively chooses to step away, that I don't want to do this anymore, the shield is not mine, you are Captain America. For him to make that choice, and then you pull that character back in, he's like, oh, I gotta put the suit on one more time. Do you realize like how that undercuts like everything that you established to be like, you're Captain America, Sam Wilson? Just kidding. We're actually going to bring back the other guy because you're not good enough as Captain America. That's like the message here, that you needed the other guy back. It's so fucking lame, man. I don't like it. What was the point of introducing the multiverse? Is it like, what did it do? What did we do with it? Couldn't fucking tell you. Namor is here and he's going to be in this movie. But will he do anything? I don't know. It sounds like the X-Men from a different franchise are going to be more important than him. I think it's just stupid, man. I really do. I think the whole last 7 or so years of the Marvel franchise have been so hit or miss, and such a uninteresting pile of movies and TV shows, with a few exceptions. Black Panther 2, very good. Ironheart, very good. Daredevil, pretty good, what have you. But it honestly wouldn't bother me so much if they hadn't nailed it before. Like, I think Phase 1 of the MCU is fine. On the whole, it's fine. It's got like 2 movies in there that I like. Phase 2 is pretty aimless. It's just a lot of making sequels, and then the only real thing they really did was they built Civil War. That was the point of Phase 2. The point of Phase 2 is to build a civil war. Like, we've established the team and all these different characters. Let's pull them apart. Which then that is setting the stage for Infinity War and Endgame, when, because they're apart, they lose, and then they have to, come back and win. But, between, like, Phase 3 of the MCU, I think is really solid. There's nothing in there that I don't enjoy. Like, even like Thor Ragnarok, I still think is a lot of fun. But that was all, like, it was building to something. Like, it really felt like we were making progress. Like, we introduced Spider-Man. That he was important in Infinity War and Endgame for Iron Man's arc and in his character development. For him to like open up to have a protege kind of thing, and to also kind of set the stage for the younger people of this franchise being able to take on the mantles of these people. Not for him to become like the next Iron Man, but to be like the next main important hero in this franchise. And so on and so forth. Like, it really felt like we were building to something. And then it did build to something. It built to Infinity War and Endgame. And all the pieces meant something. And they just kind of lost sight of that after that. Where they were just endlessly throwing shit at the wall, hoping something would stick. Hoping that they would throw out a plot thread that a different writer or creative team would see and like want to do something with. Like, Shang-Chi sets up that the rings are important, that they're like these alien technologies or something. The fuck did that mean? He didn't do anything. We've been sitting on that character for 5 years. What a waste. Man, I just don't like it. None of this sounds good to me. I don't care about this. Okay, Godzilla -0. I love Godzilla. I love Godzilla. I love Godzilla -1. Love Godzilla. Really love Godzilla. So, anywho, we have a teaser released that we will kind of go over a little bit. But I also want to go over some details that the director Takashi Yamazaki revealed. All right, so I'm just going to run through these and we'll kind of go over them afterwards. So he says that the runtime is very similar to -1, so don't expect like a much bigger, longer movie. It does have a bigger budget though, and apparently the VFX shots are a lot more complex. He says that it includes both English and Japanese dialogue and characters because the U.S. military is going to play a big part in the story and the theme. Many of the action sequences were filmed in IMAX, which there's an IMAX shot of Godzilla from the teaser where he jumps out of the water, which is already impressive. But they've released, I think it was Hideo Kojima actually, who released like the IMAX shot of that, and it's fucking incredible. This is actually, apparently the whole movie was filmed in IMAX, if I remember correctly. It's the first Japanese or maybe the first Toho production for that to be the case, which is very interesting and really, really cool, especially for Godzilla. And this is also getting an IMAX release when it comes out in November, which the original -1, it did not. So that's very exciting. And Yamazaki says that it features what he's calling the greatest kaiju sequence he's ever seen. All of that is exactly what I want to hear. That your sequel's bigger and better in every way. Like, fuck yeah. So going over the teaser, very brief, it's about 50 seconds long. Doesn't really show much of anything. It just kind of sets the stage that this is a sequel to -1. Godzilla's back. He's bigger. He's meaner. We're going more crazy in the sci-fi department. The main characters of the last one are back. So, again, like a proper sequel. Looks fucking cool. He's going to America. He's going to wreck New York, seemingly. He's big. Hell yeah. People have been talking about, and I want to tackle this first. People have been talking about the design. When you see him walk behind the Statue of Liberty. Also, I love the way that shot is composed, where he's walking up to it, so it looks like it's here, and he's gonna walk ahead. He's a little shorter, but as he's like approaching it, you realize he's behind it. There's like that little perspective shift. You realize he's behind it. How much bigger he is. That's really cool. Just fuck yeah. That's good shit. But anyway, his design there, it's just the -1 design. It's exactly the same. And so people have been speculating because when you see Godzilla earlier in the trailer, he's clearly different. He's bigger. He's actually, you know what? Hang on a second. So I have some Godzilla -1 figures I'm going to use to kind of illustrate my point here a little bit. I guess I'll use this one. This is the Super 7 one. I think it's Super 7. The other one is Monster Arts. So, the original -1 design is this. I don't know how well it's going to come out on the camera. It's kind of standard Godzilla stuff. I love this design. But looking at -0, we can see that he is just straight up bigger. His shoulders are bigger. He's kind of got like the absolute Batman style spikes on his shoulders. His head looks a little pointier. It looks like they might have given like his snout more of a point, which I think is a really good touch. They did that in the Monsterverse too. If you look at Godzilla between like King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, he has a pointier face, which makes him look leaner and meaner, which is really cool. Also, in that shot where he comes out of the water, you see him kind of doing like that like alligator type thing where they zigzag a little bit to get more momentum to jump out of the water. That's cool. Making Godzilla more like reptilian in that way, that's cool. I love that shit. But like, yeah, I mean, he's bigger, he's meaner. So I saw someone say, like, imagine you're Koichi Shikishima and you realize that the thing that you killed is back, it's bigger, it's badder, and now it wants to super kill you. I think that's really funny. But like, I mean, this is a great design already, but the idea of doing this, but bigger, badder, scarier, love that. That's such a cool thing to do. Anyway, that shot of him walking behind the Statue of Liberty, it's just this design. His tail fell off. It's just this design. So people have been speculating that there might be two Godzillas. That there could be like the Godzilla that's just the -1 Godzilla, like he's back basically, and then new Godzilla who's bigger and badder and spikier and scarier. I don't think that's the case. I remember hearing those rumors. It was probably more of a fan theory than anything for the original, or for Godzilla minus one. The idea being that there'd be two Godzillas, like a base Godzilla before the H bomb hits him, and then like post H bomb Godzilla, which is just standard Godzilla. And I remember the theory was like, oh, they were gonna fight and they were gonna do this, and that, blah blah blah, and that obviously was not the case. But that's never been done before. Like two Godzillas. The closest we've ever gotten is that moment in Terror of Mechagodzilla, when Mechagodzilla is in like a skin suit to look like Godzilla. That's the closest we've ever gotten to like two Godzillas throwing hands. So I like the idea of there being two Godzillas. I also think that's like an incredible pit. This fucking thing's tail is falling apart in every goddamn way it can. This has never happened before. I've posed this thing a bunch. Why is it doing this to me? Okay, I'm going to put you down because you're kind of pissing me off. And I'm just going to play with this one. So anyway, I like the idea of there being two Godzillas. It's never been done. It's cool. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's the case at all. I think what's happening is he either comes back looking exactly the same as he did in the first one, and then something else happens and he mutates further. Maybe they hit him with another nuke, and he just tanks it and he becomes the bigger, scarier version. Or it's just an unfinished shot. I think that's also very possible. Maybe it's a shot just for the trailer, and they're just using this model that this was like, it was just easier to produce, or to like get ready for the trailer or what have you. So like maybe this was just the only model they had in the VFX department. So they decided to just use this again for that shot. I think that's also very possible that in the final movie it just looks different. That's, just a like kind of like a meta theory. But like in terms of the narrative in the movie itself, I think it is going to be that he comes back looking mostly the same. Then he gets hit with another nuke. Maybe it's like a special nuke or some kind of special weapon. Because that's another thing in the trailer. You hear an American say, it's like, if their plan fails, then maybe we'll get to use it. Use it. It. What is it? Is it a nuke? Is it the oxygen destroyer? If this wasn't set in 1949, I would assume Mechagodzilla. Like, it. We've created a weapon designed to kill Godzilla. Mechagodzilla. It. We're going to use it. But obviously not the case. In 1949, they're not building Mechagodzilla. So I think it's going to be some kind of super weapon. I think it's possible it's the oxygen destroyer. That, instead of it being created by Daisuke Serizawa in Japan, it's created by the Americans. Which also, like, apparently according to Yamazaki, the U.S. military is going to play a big role in the story and the theme of the film. American imperialism is absolutely something that you can do with Godzilla. How America has overreached its military control on the world is definitely something that is ripe for criticizing. So America deciding to create this weapon to fight Godzilla, and it just makes things worse, would be really cool. They create this weapon designed to kill Godzilla, but he fucking tanks it, and it just makes him stronger. Yes! Oh my god, yes! That's so cool! I also really want to talk about that shot of Shikishima flying through the debris. Everyone's assuming King Ghidorah, and they also think that the title -0 is a reference to Monster Zero, which was the original name for King Ghidorah. So there's been the joke about Gravity Anguirus, which is funny, but I think it's Godzilla. I think that this new version of Godzilla is just going to have a new kind of power. Like before, this, base Godzilla, like he's already got some unique abilities to Godzilla. Like he's got like a Wolverine-style healing factor. That's pretty new. Godzilla can typically heal pretty well, but not the way that this one was. Where half his face gets blown off and he comes back pretty much instantly. Like that's new. Even his atomic breath being like a miniature nuclear weapon that it shoots it and it, it's a nuke and it, mushroom clouds and everything. Like that's unique to this Godzilla. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he has some kind of, Godzilla often has the atomic pulse, which he's used in the Heisei era. He has it in the Monsterverse for like the one time that he's burning Godzilla. I think he's had it in the Millennium too. But who's to say that's not what this is? It's some kind of pulse that he gives off and it offsets the gravitational field or something. I will say, though, that it being so high up in the air, kind of, that not necessarily kills the theory, but makes it maybe a little less probable. If, Godzilla can do that, why is it affecting things so far in the air? But I will notice it's housing and shit. So it's things that were on the ground that are now up in the air that Shikishima has to fly through it. I don't think it's entirely improbable that that's just Godzilla, that it's something he can do now. I think that'd be cool. I also like that Yamazaki's leaning more into the sci-fi element. Like, the first one's it's grounded in the sense that, like, it's still fantastical because it's Godzilla, but it's probably about as grounded as you could do Godzilla other than the 2014 one. But still, like, the most fantastical elements of that is that this prehistoric kaiju exists in the first place to get nuked and then turned into Godzilla. But to take that and build on that, go a little further in the sci-fi fantastical department, that's a really smart creative decision. And I like that a lot. So yeah, I mean, it's all just speculation, but I'm really looking forward to this. And I guess the only other thing would be, like, Noriko has the thing on her neck in the end of -1. She was still wearing an eye patch. I guess her eye's still fucked. What kind of connection is she going to have to Godzilla? It's going to be like Mickey in the Heisei era, where she can just straight up talk to him. Maybe even, like, kind of, not control him, but guide him a little bit. That'd be cool. And we also, we don't know what the other monster is in this. I'm hoping for Hedorah, personally. Hedorah. I go back and forth. And I know Yamazaki's a fan of Hedorah, so I'm hoping it's her. But I don't want Ghidorah. I really don't want Ghidorah. I've seen enough King Ghidorah in my lifetime. If I never see a Godzilla movie with King Ghidorah in it again, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, Godzilla -0 looks okay. His tail came off too. Fucking hell. But yeah, Godzilla -0. Very excited. Love Godzilla. Really, really looking forward to it. Okay, and the last piece of news we have today, the last thing we're going to talk about is Clayface. Clayface. I love Clayface so much. I'm going to hold on to this while I talk about this movie, because I love this thing. You can hear how vinylly he is. I love Clayface so much. I have a Clayface tattoo plan. I'm going to put it right there. I'm so excited for this movie. I love Clayface. He's my favorite Batman villain. I think that just the idea of a Clayface body horror movie as a concept written by Mike Flanagan, like, that's very exciting. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. It's being called a riveting horror thriller. Apparently it's very similar, almost an adaptation of the Feet of Clay episodes from Batman the Animated Series, which I think is good. My only hang-up about that is I hope that Flanagan wasn't afraid to open a comic book or two, because there's a lot of really incredible Clayface comics out there. One Bad Day, I heard floating around that was an inspiration. That's a good story, I think. There's some Preston Payne stuff I think they should pull from, personally. I think his design I don't love. I'll be honest, I don't think that's a great Clayface design, but his characterization, his story, his origin, fantastic. I think that should be absolutely pulled from. But anyway, so they're going to be calling him Matt Hagen, who is the second Clayface. His origin in the comics is that he is a kind of a treasure hunter, thief kind of guy, and he ends up stumbling upon this cave where this magic goo is in, and when he touches it, it turns him into Clayface. He gets, like, all the shape-shifting powers and what have yous, and then he decides to immediately start using that for crime. He uses his shape-shifting powers. I wish they had gone with the Basil Carlo name, which I think is probably the most notable name for Clayface. He's typically called Carlo, especially after the Mudpack arc. I'm not going to go super in-depth with all the lore, but I actually have the Mudpack arc. It's somewhere over there on my shelf. I have it in my stack of comic books. But yeah, I mean, I love Clayface, if that's not coming across. I know so much about this guy. I love this guy so much. So the quote from the Hollywood Reporter regarding the footage it says, "The chilling footage, which did not include any dialogue, opens with a seemingly disfigured man with bloodied bandages covering his face. A montage of moments flashes back to show what led to this moment. The final scene features titular character, played by Tom Rhys-Harris, using his hand to wipe his face clean and reveal a completely blank look." And I also heard that the trailer was set to "Do You Realize" by the Flaming Lips, which is a incredible song. So yeah, I mean, fuck, peak as far as I'm concerned. I will say that quote I just read, that was really fucking rough. I don't know if I'm stupid, but it felt like it was not written correctly. Anyway, I want to do some blind speculation and what have you. So them saying that it's mostly pulling from the Feet of Clay episodes is interesting to me. I'm sure parts of that will be different because of other stuff we've heard and learned. For example, the whole him being tested on thing, that doesn't happen in those episodes. He does befriend a doctor named Stella Bates in the episode Mudslide. But we also know that Naomi Ackie is in this movie, and she's going to be playing a character named Dr. I want to say Sharon Bates. Either way, very clearly a reference to that. Feet of Clay, not the only episodes they're going to be pulling from. But again, like, there's so many Clayface comic books out there that I really hope Flanagan, who wrote the script, was willing to read them. It's also unclear. They've said it, but I don't know if I believe them, that Batman's not in the movie. That he's not going to be... I'm just holding him like a baby now. That Batman's not in this movie. That he's not going to play a meaningful role. He's just not in it. I don't know if I believe that. I think it would be really cool if they debuted DCU Batman in this movie. I think that would be cool. I also think it'd be a fun way to differentiate themselves from the last, like, Batman solo villain movies, or solo Batman villain movie, however you want to say it. Joker, which does not feature Batman at all because he just doesn't really exist in that universe because he's not really the Joker. But I think, like, putting Batman in the end of this, like, Clayface, he does all his villainous shit. He does whatever it is he's going to do. He kills whoever he's going to kill. And then Batman shows up and he just fucks him up. That would be awesome. That's what happens in his One Bad Day story. He kills like 10 people in a single day, and then Bruce Wayne shows up and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And Clayface has a panic attack, which is really cool. And then he reveals himself like a fucking idiot, and then Batman trounces him. It's good stuff. So I could see them doing something like that, and I think that'd be really exciting. Tom Rhys-Harry's in the role. I'm unfamiliar with him. I've talked about this before, but I like that. I like that when I see this movie, I'm not going to have any baggage of him as a performer. I can just watch him as Clayface. He's Clayface. I like that. I am curious because there was rumors before and a report by Nexus News, which I think was more so just speculation or maybe just like rumors, I suppose, more than anything, that the antagonist of this movie is going to be a mob boss. I was very uninterested in that angle. In the Feet of Clay episodes, Roland Daggett, who's the CEO of a company, and he comes to Clayface, or he comes to Matt Hagen, and he offers him the Renew You gel, which he lets him rearrange his fucked up face. And in exchange, like, you can have this. In exchange, you'll use your shape-shifting powers to do jobs for me. I think that just doing that would work. The shady CEO business guy type, I think, would work just fine. So, going down there's a mob boss in this movie who's the villain, feels unnecessary to me. But also, I mean, hearing that this is like an actual earnest horror movie, body horror thing, that's very exciting. I think that's really cool. I don't know, just, like, until we see the footage, until I actually have it in front of me, there's only so much I can speculate on. I am really excited to see what Gotham looks like. We've seen a lot of renditions on Gotham over the years. Burton, Schumacher, Nolan, even Joker, Todd Phillips, which I don't like that version of Gotham. It's just New York. Matt Reeves, I think, has maybe my favorite, maybe not the best, but my favorite. I always really liked the Burton Gotham, but Matt Reeves' Gotham, I think, is beautiful. It feels like a character. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this one. What kind of inspiration they take. Because I think they filmed in Scotland, which has a lot of that kind of gothic architecture. I think they also filmed the Batman parts of Gotham there too. So yeah, I'm very excited. Again, like, until I have the trailer in front of me, there's only so much I can speculate on. But yeah, I mean, it sounds promising. It sounds really exciting. And I love Clayface, so works for me. All right, so I saw The Mummy. I asked my friend to review with me. We sat in the car. We talked about it. We talked for like 2 minutes because we couldn't really formulate any thoughts, and that kind of leads into what I have to say about this movie. But also, as you can see, there's no audio, there's no visual. I didn't feel like turning on the camera and anything. I have like a little cup of ice cream here. I'm gonna munch on this while I talk. So Lee Cronin's The Mummy. It is the latest release of a classic Universal monster movie, or the Cum, as we call him on the channel. It stars Jack Raynor as the father of a little girl who goes missing when the family is in Egypt, and then 8 years later, that little girl, Katie, is found in a sarcophagus, mummified, seemingly, but she's alive. And so the family brings her home back to New Mexico, and they have her holed up in the house, and they're like, oh my god, Katie's back, this is great. But there's also the burning question of where has she been the last 8 years? What happened to her? Because she looks like a fucking zombie. And again, in a sarcophagus, mummified. So there is also the question of what happened to her. In addition to that, weird shit starts happening. She's doing weird shit. She's just being creepy as hell. And then some Evil Dead stuff happens. But yeah, it's a mummy movie. All right, so I've talked about I'm going to do non-spoilers, and then I'll do some spoilers. But I talked about this leading up to this movie. I like the idea of doing something different with the mummy character. I think the mummy's one of the weaker Universal monsters. He's Dracula. The original Imhotep, he's Dracula. He's dead he's someone of prominence in his time, and then he does crook shit. So he is like entombed or what have you, and then he comes back, and all these years later, he finds that his true love has been reincarnated as someone in the modern era, and he seeks them out so that he can have his love again. And that's it. Like he's Dracula, but he's not as interesting. And they kind of make him a little more interesting in the Brendan Fraser ones because they give him superpowers and shit. But also, even in those movies, nobody watches those movies for Imhotep. Like, yeah, he's there. He's kind of an interesting villain, but people like those movies for Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, the action, the romance, the comedy, the spectacle. The Mummy is not the draw to those movies. So the idea of doing the Mummy in a new angle, in more of like a demon possession type movie thing, I was on board for that. Because, just doing anything different with the Mummy character concept, I'm cool with. But in execution, I didn't dislike this, but I didn't like it either. It's very middling for me. This really washed over me. I've been seeing mixed things. Like some people really didn't care for this. Some people are, I think, kind of overindulging in its the evil deadness of it all. But for me personally, I found this to be a kind of mid, as the kids say. But again, I'm going to do non-spoilers then spoilers. So for non-spoiler, I guess like the things that I liked, I really did like the mummy herself, played by Natalie Grace. I think she's really good. She's very creepy and sinister and sadistic in a way that I found very compelling. I like the design that she ends up having by the end of the movie. The mummy-ish look that she kind of has. But like, also at the same time, I mean, most mummy designs is just a person. The original Imhotep, like, he looks like the classic mummy bandage wrap guy for one scene where you barely see him, and then every moment after that, he's just a guy. Same with the original, not the original, I'm sorry, the Brendan Fraser one. He's a zombie for a scene, and then he starts absorbing people, so he gets more human looking. But I feel like there's a halfway between part that's his best look, between zombie and human, but then once he's fully reformed, he's just a guy. Like, the mummy just looks like a person. So this one being this disgusting deadite looking person who by the end, like the bandages are coming off and skin's coming off, and that there's like some bleeding of the eyes and shit. Liked all of that. I thought that was really cool. But I liked how mean this movie was. This movie's got like a real grit and tenacity to it that I liked. It's fucking brutal at times, in like a way that I think isn't necessarily a step up from Evil Dead Rise, which was the last Lee Cronin movie, but maybe it definitely in that vein. And yeah, people are comparing this to Evil Dead. It's got a lot of Evil Dead stuff going on. There is one character in this movie who is pretty much a Deadite, just full on, just a Deadite. But there's also some like Exorcist type shit happening that I enjoyed. What else is non-spoilery that I can say? Oh, May Kalamaui is in this. She is a investigator in Egypt who's looking into like what happened to Katie. Where has she been the last 8 years? What's going on? That element of the movie I enjoyed. The kind of that thriller aspect of the movie. The movie's not really scary. I didn't find this particularly scary. It's got a couple jump scares that I liked, but on the whole, just I don't know. It's not a scary movie. I didn't really think Evil Dead Rise was all that scary either. But I also think Evil Dead Rise was grosser than this. Maybe from memory. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie since it came out. But like in this, like I don't know. There is some like shock and awe, gore stuff happening. Something involving teeth that I kind of got a little squeamish about for a moment. Trying to think of anything else that like really got me. There's a thing with like toenails that I saw people on Twitter really hyping up, but in the moment I don't know. I just didn't think it was as gross as I really was expecting it to be. I don't know. Okay, so in terms of things I didn't really care for, I didn't find the family super compelling. They're not bad. The family drama is serviceable, but I didn't find it to be as compelling as say Lee Winnell's Wolfman last year. That's a Universal monster movie. That's a reimagining of a classic character that centers on a family. But I found the family unit in Wolfman to be very compelling, especially the way that Winnell tied that into the metaphor of the Wolfman curse, and the story itself. Like I thought that family was very riveting, compelling, engaging. This family, I didn't feel that. That's another thing, is that this movie's not like, it's not really like about anything. Like it's kind of about trauma and survivor's guilt and moving on and this and that, but it never harps on that. It's really just a straightforward horror movie designed to gross you out, make you squirm a little bit, which I appreciate. I don't have any issue with that. But in the modern era of these Universal monster movies, so far, writers and directors have been choosing to use these characters as vessels to speak on things. Winnell's Invisible Man is about trauma and domestic violence. Winnell's Wolfman is about generational trauma and your body failing you at the hands of a disease like dementia or cancer. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, which I didn't really care for, is about feminism and patriarchy and misogyny and how men oppress women in their day-to-day lives. Guillermo del Toro did Frankenstein, which I don't know if I entirely count that one because that is largely an adaptation of a book. But also it's about, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to play God? The themes of the actual Frankenstein story. And then this one is just, what if there was some Evil Dead shenanigans? Which again, like I also appreciate that. Just a straightforward horror movie. How can you say no to that? But at the same time, I didn't find this particularly scary or gross. I've seen grosser things that I've seen, like The Substance is grosser than this, and it's about something. And I've also seen movies that are just kind of scarier in general that are also about something. So yeah, I mean, I can praise this movie for the handful of things that it does, but it's not doing any of those things like exceptionally well, I felt. In terms of spoilers, I don't have a lot of spoilery things to say. I will say there's a character in the movie who's a professor, that the Jack Raynor character, the dad, he goes to the professor and, so for setup of that, Katie is kidnapped as a child when the family's in Egypt, and she's used by this family who have taken it upon themselves to keep an ancient Egyptian demon locked in a vessel, in a body. And they've chosen this little girl, Katie, to be the new vessel. So they kidnap her, and you later see what that looks like, where they say an incantation and the demon is transferred into her body, and that's why she was taken. And then she comes back because they had to move the sarcophagus they were holding her in, and when it's found and they open it leads to the unleashing of this demon. So anyway, so part of the thing was they wrapped her body in the kind of mummy wrappings, but it had these spell bindings on it that keep the demon at bay. So at one point, the mother is trying to clip her toenails, and when she does, she fucks up, and she like rips off her skin, the nail, her skin, and also some of the bandages up her leg. That was pretty cool. Not as gross as I was expecting, but pretty cool. And then the dad, he's investigating, and he figures out that there's some bandage wrapping on the skin. So when the skin comes off, it's all been like stuck to the wrappings. They're all stuck together. And he brings the wrappings to a professor who's a an archaeologist, and he asks him to decode it. And the conclusion he comes to is that it speaks of this ancient demon. Right? So that's fine. But at the same time, we also have the May Kalamaui character who's doing her own investigation, and she also comes to that conclusion. We also see in other scenes the whole bandage on the skin thing. You don't need the professor character. There was no reason to include him. That was genuinely a waste. Because his conclusion is the same, but also falls short of the conclusion that May Kalamaui's investigation leads her to. Because she learns about the demon thing, but she also learns for her, the audience, and the family, what the process looked like and what the reasoning was behind Katie being taken. So you could just get rid of the professor character, and you could have him show the bandage wrappings to May Kalamaui's character, and have him be like, hey, I found these, this might help, maybe this is something, and there you go, boom. The professor character was just not needed at all. I think this movie wraps up too cleanly. The mummy girl, Katie, she does some mummy stuff. She infects both her siblings, and the grandma who she kills. She kills the grandma, brings her back to life as a deadite, and then she's got the two kids. But it's also they're not entirely deadites, the kids, because in Evil Dead, once you are possessed and you become a deadite, you're fucked, you're dead. You cannot be saved. I remember that being the rule. But in this, you can, because she turns them into her servants, brings grandma back from the dead, and then the dad decides to sacrifice himself and absorb the demon into him to spare Katie, and then they put him in a box, and I thought that's where the movie was going to end. That was like the big thing, that he gets to atone, because he feels responsible for Katie being taken. So he gets to atone for that by sacrificing himself for his kid. One of those, like, I couldn't save you then, let me save you now type things. And I liked that. I thought that was, maybe the most moving thing the movie had going for it. But then, and again, like, the kids are all fine. Katie's fine now. The little girl is fine. The brother's fine. Grandma's still dead. But mom is fine. Everyone's fine. Except dad, because he's locked in a box, because he's the mummy now. But then they bring him back to the woman who initially kidnapped Katie, and the movie ends with it happens off screen, but they put the demon that's in him into her, so she's going to be the new mummy. I don't know. I thought that Cronin had like a really solid ending there with the dad sacrificing himself, and it was it was probably the meanest spirited thing the movie had going for it. That this father who felt so responsible for getting his daughter taken, he probably thought killed. Then when she comes back, he finds out that she had a fate worse than death, so he atones for that by sacrificing himself. Like, I thought that was the most interesting choice the movie made, and then they just don't commit to it. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of fucking lame. But yeah, beyond that, not a very compelling movie. Didn't really care for it. I'm probably not going to remember it in a couple of days, which is kind of a shame, because I love Cum. I love the classic Universal monsters. I am like the biggest Universal monsters guy. So, to see The Bride and be disappointed by that, then see this one and be disappointed by this, not great. But yeah, anyway, back to Roast Turkey from, a day or two ago? Okay, Weekly Media Club. So homework was 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I really like this. I thought this was really good. I didn't like 28 Years Later. I thought, like, it was filmed in a really interesting way. I liked the way that it looked visually. I thought there was some like really cool shit that Danny Boyle did with the shots, or at least the cinematographer did. I don't remember the DP's name. But 28 years later, the Bone Temple, it picks up pretty much exactly where 28 years later ended, where Spike is taken in by Jack O'Connell's cult, and he joins the cult unwillingly. He becomes one of the Jimmies, and they set off on an adventure which ends up colliding with Dr. Kelsing. I think it's Kelsing, the Ray Fiennes character, who has begun kind of befriending Samson, the big alpha infected guy. And the way that it all kind of comes together and culminates, I found very interesting. I liked this a lot. Directed by Nia DaCosta, who I think is an incredible director. I haven't seen all of her movies. I really like her Candyman. I like The Marvels. I really like this. I think she's a really talented director to keep our eye on. She's also expressed interest in doing an Invincible movie, and she said that she has like an angle that she actually would like to explore with that. That's pretty cool. Just, I guess it's just to throw that out there. I think she should make a Wonder Woman movie. I think if James Gunn is going to look for directors for Wonder Woman in the DCU, I think DaCosta should be up there. I just love the way that she brings these worlds to life, and like how energetic people are in her movies. Like the performances she's getting out of these people is incredible. Just, I don't know. I know she's working with different cinematographers, but all her movies look good too, except for The Marvels. But I wouldn't really put that on her. It's working for a big company that wants to maintain a certain look and vibe to their films, so it's not entirely the same. Anyway, I'm probably not going to do spoilers. But 28 years later, The Bone Temple, really good, really fun. Grim and dark and mean. It's a mean movie. It's mean-spirited, it's cruel, it's vicious, and I liked that. Just from the get-go. There's an opening kill, I guess, where someone gets stabbed and they bleed out, and it's really harrowing as they like beg and cry and scream for help, and everyone's just laughing at them. Really fucked. It really sets the tone. And then, it maybe or maybe not, people get skinned alive. That was fucked up. There's a really cool fire stunt at a point. There's just a lot of cruelty in this that I enjoyed. I think that's something that zombie apocalypse stories should always have, is like a level of cruelty in them that, like the world is ending, or not ending, it's over. The world it ended, it's over, it's done. And any amount of humanity and kindness has just been beaten out of us. I think that's very compelling. And I think DaCosta captures that very well in this movie. Written by Alex Garland. So, he's another guy who, he likes a bit of devastation and grimness and just cruelty in his stories. Civil War, all of his movies, really. Anywho, I thought this was great. I really did. I think the first 30 minutes is kind of rough. Where it's setting everything up. It's kind of setting the stage for where everybody is so that we can start moving forward from those points to collide these characters and story arcs or plot points, I guess. But that first 30 minutes of setup, I found kind of dull. I'm sure on a rewatch it wouldn't be so bad, but as a first viewing, I just didn't, I don't know. I wasn't engaged until Jack O'Connell's gang, they round up that family in their barn. From that point on, I was hooked. I was into it. But leading up to that point, I wasn't really feeling it. Enfys Nest from Solo is in this, whose name I do not remember, and I feel bad calling her that. She was also in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Her name is Erin Kellyman. She's really good in this too. The guy playing Samson, Chi Lewis Perry, he's incredible. He's giving an absolutely phenomenal performance. A lot of it's very physical. There's a lot of screaming. He does like a lot of this kind of like waving around stuff. He kind of like feels like an empty vessel for a lot of it, and he sells it really well. And the thing that they do with that character, really interesting. He's a character. Like this zombie is a character, and the way that they unpack that and play with that, I found really compelling. Some really solid holy shit moments involving Samson, and the dynamic between him and the doctor Ray Fiennes' character, who I also found to be absolutely delightful in this. Really interesting. I don't want to say spoilers, because I don't think this did very well. Unfortunately, they released it in January because it came out 28 weeks later after the last one, 28 years later. I think that was a mistake. It's a fun gimmick, but it just, I don't know. Releasing this in January, I don't think was a good choice. I think they should have waited for a summer release. As far as I'm aware, though, the third one is going to happen. Like, it's made enough money that it's secured. They're gonna do the sequel involving Cillian Murphy's character, from 28 Days Later. So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, without spoiling anything, fuck it, we'll talk spoilers. So Samson, the doctor is convinced that he can get through to Samson. He has a theory that whatever the rage virus really is, it doesn't destroy or eat or change your brain, it clouds it. And his theory is that that cloud can be removed. It can go away. It can be cleared. So he medicates Samson. Basically, he just drugs him. He makes him very docile, hits him with morphine. But he extends like levels of kindness to him, which seem to maybe do something. Because at one point when he drugs Samson, he drugs himself and he lays next to him. And when he wakes up, Samson's gone. So Samson, he came to, it wore off and he just left. Like, he didn't kill him or anything. He just dipped, which that's like a sign of humanity. And then he fucking talks. He says, "Moon." I was dumbfounded. That was really, really cool. Did not see that coming. And then, eventually he gets his humanity back. He gains the ability to speak, but he's now like immune to the virus and what have you. So he's kind of like the perfect human. He's strong, he's durable. He seems to have the benefits of the virus, with like the main drawback being that he has his brain. He can speak, he can think, he can be a person. But he's also seemingly immune to pain almost. I don't know, because he gets attacked by the other infected. It seems to hurt him, but he also kind of walks it off anyway. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to talk about. Not really. I love the way this movie looks. The cinematography in this is fucking gorgeous. There's some just jaw-droppingly beautiful shots in this movie. Jack O'Connell's great. He should play more villains. I think he's really, really good. Remick is great. This guy's great. He has a scene with Ray Fiennes where they just sit around talking for a little while. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. Just the dialogue is good. It's quick. It's witty. It's enjoyable. I don't know. I just think they're both really, really giving incredible performances. I think the violence in this is solid. There's some really good gore. There's a part where someone just I think it's Samson. He's just like eating someone's brain. That was fucking cool. Gross. The skinning alive of that family. That was really unsettling. You don't even really see it happen. You see like the aftermath. Very unpleasant. And then it ends with Cillian Murphy coming back. He's got a kid now. I don't remember 28 Days Later. I don't think I actually saw 28 Weeks Later. If I did, I have no memory of it. I don't think I saw it. 28 Days Later, I know I've seen it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. I do remember the bit where that helicopter rolls over all the zombies, though, if that's the same movie. But if it is, that's what I remember. Oh, but yeah, he comes back. He's got a kid. They see Spike and Enfys Nest running from zombies, and they're like, we're going to go help them, and the movie ends. So it looks like that's where we're going to pick up. But I'm really curious how that's going to play out. I mean, we're bringing him back. What is Spike doing? I forgot. I remember he leaves the baby that was born from the infected with his community, and then he goes back out into the world, or at least back out into the wilderness. But now he's got the girl with him. Is Aaron Taylor Johnson coming back for the next one? The dad, is he coming back? What does that look like? Cillian Murphy's back. Samson is going to be out there. There's a chance they team up with him. But like, to what end? Like, what are we building towards? I don't know. Especially now that we've killed off Jack O'Connell's character. Like, he's done. He's gone. Like, what villain is there left to conquer? And he's not really the villain in 28 years later. He shows up at the end to set up being the villain in this one. So, I don't know. But I am looking forward to it. Didn't love 28 Years Later. Loved Bone Temple. I don't know if I loved it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a really good time. So anyway, Weekly Media Club for next week. Homework is going to be The Apprentice. The Sebastian Stan, Jeremy Strong, who else is in that? Maria Bakalova, I think. Donald Trump movie. And the only reason I'm throwing it on there is because I've been meaning to watch it. And this is I'm using this Weekly Media Club thing to force myself to watch these movies that I've had on my watch list forever. Which is good because it really is forcing me to watch them, which is, it's good. But yeah, I've been meaning to see it. Apparently it's very, very good. So yeah, that's homework. The Apprentice is homework. Moving on, TV this week. I don't know. Invincible's good. I really enjoy this season a lot more than the last couple. I almost didn't watch it. I think I said that last week. My friend convinced me. I'm glad that I did. I do find the show a lot more enjoyable when Eve and Mark are not around. There are 2 episodes this season where Mark is basically not present at all. And I think they're good. I think they're really good episodes. Being away from him, I enjoy. Which I almost feel bad saying because Steven Yeun is obviously amazing, but I just don't like Mark. I don't think he's interesting. The Thrag episode where they go to fight him and he just bodies everybody was really cool. I like that a lot. But something I will say about Invincible is because nobody really like dies or can be meaningfully hurt. A lot of this shit feels inconsequential. Like when he rips off Oliver's arm and breaks off his jaw. Like, yeah, it's a cool visual and it's like, whoa, for a moment. But then you remember like, oh, he's going to come back in like 2 episodes. He's going to be fine. Just throw him in a back to the tank. He'll be fine. Same with Omni-Man. Like, Omni-Man gets a fucking hand put through him, and then literally 2 minutes later, he's just walking around. He's like, yeah, I'm good. I woke up yesterday. I'm feeling great. Okay. Like, nothing fucking matters. And I get it. It's like, oh, well, they're Viltrumites, so they could just walk it off. I don't care, man. It's still silly. I do like they had Peter Cullen voicing Thaddeus, and then they get Frank Welker as the Argyle, Emperor Argyle. That's good. That's good shit. Optimus Prime and Megatron. Love that. Daredevil was good this week. The flashback episode. Also the official death of Vanessa. Spoilers, I guess. Really good. Really solid stuff. But also some new Matt and Dex stuff where Matt is grappling with the fact that he doesn't know if he can forgive Dex, or he's trying to not forgive him, but he's trying to save him because he feels bad that he tried to kill him, and he's trying to seek penance for it. And in the end, he brings him back to the compound where Karen is. I love that shit. I love superheroes that won't kill their villains. I think that's so compelling and creates such palpable drama. It's good stuff. I also like that they kind of foreshadowed this in season 1 where Matt goes to the prison to see Dex, and Dex is like, he's like, I'm bargaining for my life here, counselor. He's like, isn't that what good men do? Defend their worst enemies? And that's what happens now. But also Dex has kind of come full circle. Well, not full circle, but he's kind of come around. Because in this episode, he's like, just let me die. Let me go. He's got like a nihilism to him now, where he's like, I balanced the scale. It's done. I did it. I did my one good deed. I'm clear now. Let me die. Let me face judgment at the hands of a higher power, which I thought was really interesting. Especially to Matt, a Catholic who believes in that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was a really, really solid episode. The Boys was okay. I don't know. I don't like what they're doing with Kimiko this season, where she speaks now, but everything she says is like some weird, horny porn shit. I don't like that. It feels like a regression of the character, especially because she was trafficked. Like she was a victim of human trafficking. I just don't think she'd be like this super sex loving person thing for the Israeli of the show. And then Homelander beats Ryan, which I thought was really interesting until you find out Ryan's not dead. I thought killing Ryan, that would have been like, whoa, Homelander killed his own kid. That's crazy. Not really like top 10 worst thing. I guess top 10. Probably not top 5 worst things he's done, but that would have been cool. But no, he's alive, so no consequences yet. Then what else was there? Maul was new this week. That was okay. I think I talked about it last week, but we haven't gone anywhere yet. Like the show, it feels we're 4 episodes into a 10 episode season, and it still feels like nothing's really happened. Nothing of like substantial value. There was an okay lightsaber fight, I guess, but like I don't know. I'm still waiting for something interesting to happen. What else? I'm trying to think, was there another TV thing? I don't think there was. So yeah, let's talk about Absolute Batman. Now, I've been talking about Absolute Batman. I've been doing this long enough that this is like the third issue of Absolute Batman that I've covered now. So this is Absolute Batman issue 19. I got the A cover. I want all the A covers of this. I have a handful. I'm trying to get more of them, but people want crazy prices for them in the aftermarket. So hunting them down for reasonable prices, it's not easy. I have some variants on some of the other ones, but I want the A covers. Like I have a variant on issue 1, but I want the A cover. Not even first printing. I'll take a reprint as long as it's the A cover. You know what I'm saying? And then I got this one, this variant. I think this is Dragata, but I like this one a lot, where you can see Scarecrow in the ear knives. I think that's really cool. But this was a pretty compelling issue, I thought. I like this one a lot. It is the debut of Absolute Scarecrow here. Which I like that he's Scarecrow, but he looks like Oppenheimer. I think that's an intentional choice because of Cillian Murphy. We also get not the debut of Absolute Deathstroke, because he does show up in the Arc M special, but we get like a better look at him, I guess, and more of an idea of what his deal is. They're not on the cover, but we also got the reveal of the Absolute Robins, which was really cool. And then some stuff involving Jim Gordon, which I guess we'll talk about. So, spoilers for Absolute Batman issue 19, if you haven't read it. This is also the last thing I'm going to talk about, so if you haven't read this and you don't want spoilers, you can just leave. I'm not going to talk about anything else after this. So, if that's the case, bye. If you are sticking around, let's talk about Absolute Batman. So it is really, really cool the way that they introduce Scarecrow. He just shows up on these guys working on a field, and he's gross and he's weird and he's got his toes out. I don't know if you can see, he's got his fucking toes out because he's a grub. But he tells these guys, like, he tells one of them, like, oh, this guy's fucking your wife. What are you gonna do about it? And he throws him into I don't know. I don't even know what you would call it. But he throws him into a thing that turns him to mush. It's I don't know what it fucking is. Either way, he just turns this guy to paste. And you can see his eyeball just hanging out there. I don't know how well it's going to show up. But this Scarecrow, he's always smoking what kind of appears to be a cigarette, but it's the thing he blows into this guy's face that causes him to lose his fucking mind. So I think he's smoking fear toxin, which is hard as fuck. That's cool. The art is obviously incredible. Dragota. I kind of go back and forth, but I think it's Dragota. Dragota is incredible. We get a look at the new Batmobile, which is really, really cool. And it does like some tumbler shit where it can rotate itself, which I like. I think that's really cool. The Red Hood gang, Harley Quinn's gang, they're also like his little pit crew. They pull the thing apart so that they can they disappear into the crowds, get back into being inconspicuous. I like that a lot. Killer Croc comes back. There's a lot of things happening in this issue. But the biggest thing that happens this issue is Gordon summons Bruce, and they go and they have a little rooftop chat, as Batman and Gordon tend to do. But then this smoke appears, and that's when shit starts to get really bad. Because Gordon and this is a thing that I'm very curious about. So this arc is called The Straw Man. If I can find the title page. The Straw Man. Now, a straw man, in the terms of a straw man argument, is when someone pulls up an entirely different point to kind of deter you from the thing you're actually debating. I couldn't think of an example right now. But that pulls into this moment right here, where what is revealed here, or at least insinuated here, it could be real, and it could be, it could change the game for Absolute Batman in terms of his relationship with Joker. But it could also be a straw man. It could be a deterrent to get Bruce away from what's going on. It also would appear, if this is the case, that Joker and some of these other villains like Scarecrow also know that Bruce is Batman. That's kind of cool. But anywho, Gordon gives Bruce these files labeled the Batman Project, or Project Batman. And then all of a sudden decided he has a change of heart. Like, I'm not going to give these to you. So he sets them on fire right there. And Bruce is like, what are you doing? Gordon, he's just doing weird shit. But anyway, Bruce picks up these files that are a little bit burned, and he starts reading through them. And we see Zoo on one of them, which is insinuating that Joker may have possibly had something to do with the mass shooting that killed his dad and put him on the path to becoming Batman. That's very cool, because that would be like a reversal of how Batman tends to have created the Joker when he either chases him into a vat of chemicals or, accidentally pushes him into the vat of chemicals, whatever version they want to go with. But either way, Batman being tied to the origin and Joker being tied to this origin, that's pretty cool. But this all leads to Gordon, who seems to be under the influence of fear toxin. He kills himself. Gordon dies. They kill Jim Gordon in Absolute Batman. He's fucking dead. And then we get this really haunting panel of Scarecrow. That's really, really good. I love that a lot. That's really cool. And then, anywho, the big, I guess, like, the next big thing that happens is the city now turns on Batman, which is a big reversal, because the last couple issues, the Poison Ivy ones, we were seeing how much the city was loving Batman, but now that they think they've killed Jim Gordon, who was the mayor at the time, they've decided that he is public enemy number one now. And so the mayor announces that Slade Wilson, who is leading the Robin Project, is going to pull the Robins in to become like Gotham's next protectors against Batman. And we also get some panels showing off Absolute Deathstroke. Scott Snyder was saying that he's going for a Obi-Wan Anakin vibe between Alfred and Deathstroke. How Deathstroke is he's Alfred's protege. That's really cool. But we see he's got prosthetic legs, prosthetic ears, nose, mouth. He's just a living, if you can see it right there, just a fucking corpse. That's really cool. I'm really excited because we haven't seen this design for him yet. So I'm curious what's going on there. There's a lot going on in that design that I really, really want to see. So anyway, we get the reveals of the Absolute Robins. We did get that one of all the suits with their giant fucking Pacific Rim mech suits, which is really cool. But ahead of that, we see that the Robins are Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, Jason Todd, Duke Thomas, and Dick Grayson. And they are all specially trained by Deathstroke. They all are. They're all especially trained by Deathstroke. They each are the wards of Jack Grimm. So instead of the Robins working for Batman to battle the Joker and other villains, they work for Joker to battle Batman. That's really, really cool. My only issue really is that I don't know if I really like the whole Robin thing, the way that Snyder's doing it here. I like the concept. The concept's cool. The idea of the Robins working for Joker instead of Batman. I love all that. But why? Like, it really comes out of nowhere. Like, what? Jack Grimm, he just has all... They did establish that he has his hands in orphanages around the world, partly because he has, like, the jacket made of babies that he, like, leeches off their youth or something to stay young, however that works. So I'm fine with that. But what? He's just been training a handful of them, and they're all apparently all over the age of 18. So he's been training all of them to be super ninja assassins. Why? What was the cover story for that? Why are they called Robins in this universe? Like, Robin has a meaning for his name. Why are they called Robins in this universe? The last we saw of Dick Grayson, he's an EMT. What is he, like? I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. When did this happen? Because the Poison Ivy one, he's sitting around talking to someone, and he's like, I gotta do something about this Batman fella. It sounds like you were already in the midst of doing something. How much time has passed? Is this new for you? I don't know. I like the idea. I really do. And I'm sure at minimum Dick Grayson's going to side with Batman and betray. Especially because he's the medic of the team. So he'll probably be the one with the most hearts. He's the one that Batman could probably win over. But I don't know. I can't say that I'm loving the entire framing device of The Absolute Robins. But other than that, good issue. Liked it a lot. Love Absolute Batman. And then this week, we have Absolute Wonder Woman issue, I want to say 18, but I don't know if that's right. Anyways, that's the show for today. I had a lot to say. I mean, I'm looking fucking an hour 30, and I don't know how much of this I'm going to cut out. But also, I still have to do the Mummy review. There's a lot of stuff, man. Anyway, thank you so much for indulging me. Thank you for being here. If you're still here, it means the absolute world to me. And that's it. Bye.